I was saying, Sue, are we going to be meeting in person next month or anything on the horizon?
I don't know. They're doing some retrofitting or talking about retrofitting the chambers or conference rooms to do hybrid meetings. Okay, so we are recording and we are on live stream. So I'm going to get us started if everybody's set. Mark and Hayes, your chair, thumbs up on that? Okay. Okay, thank you for joining the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission and Historic Landmark Preservation Commission for a joint monthly meeting of each respective commission. Today is Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. My name is Suzanne Cahill. I'm the planning director and the organizer for our virtual meeting. I'm just going to let a couple of people in. Before we begin our meeting, we would like to go over a few meeting guidelines to help navigate the system as efficiently and respectfully as possible. We ask that members of the public and the press remain muted and off camera for the length of the meeting. As the organizer, I reserve the right to mute anyone who unmutes themselves. We ask that commission members and city staff will control their own mute button. Good practice would be to mute yourself if you are not speaking to avoid background noise and feedback. If the commissioner or staff will speak, they will raise their hand. As the organizer, I will call on them before they speak by stating their name clearly for our audio listeners and transcript recording. All of our meetings are recorded. Both video and written transcriptions will be made available to the public on the city website at a later date. Also note that this meeting is being live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. In lieu of public speaking during the monthly meeting, we requested all comment to be received by 2 p.m. on Tuesday, June 1st, 2021. Comments would have been emailed to Julie Edelson Safford at KingstonNewYork.gov, hand delivered or placed in a regular mail or in the drop box at City Hall. No comments have been received. All meeting materials, applications, and supporting documentation, written comments may be found on the city website by going to www.kingston-ny.gov. On the homepage, scroll down to the bottom under meetings where you see the joint meeting posted. Click the link for the agenda and you will find a universal hyperlink for all information. If at any time you have an audio issue, send a text message to the following number, 845-443-0416. I will repeat that number again, but be aware that phone calls will not be answered during the meeting. The number to text is 845-443-0416. As the organizer for today's meeting, I reserve the right to lock and pause the meeting, to eject anyone who has behaved inappropriately, or to enter into attorney-client conference if needed. On behalf of the commission, I wish to thank everyone for your continued patience during this unique time and wish you and your family good health. I now call the meeting to order at 6:34 p.m. and I turn the floor over to Chairman Hayes Clement for HAC. Hayes, you are muted.
Thank you, Sue. I'm Hayes Clement. I'm the chairman of the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission. I'm going to introduce the other members of the commission, and if you could raise your hand as your name is called, that'd be great. I'm Hayes Clement, Dean Barnes, Kevin McAvoy, Michael Del Priore, and Bonnie Howland. Absent is Abigail Robin. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes of our joint May 6, 2021 meeting. Has everyone had a chance on the Heritage Area Commission to review the minutes? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of the May 6, 2021 meeting?
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Motion by Bonnie Howland. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dean Barnes. Any debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
And Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Mark, do you want to introduce the HLPC and then do the adoption of the minutes for HLPC?
Thanks, Sue. I'm Mark Grunblatt. I chair Historic Landmark Preservation Commission. I'll call the roll on HLPC members. Hayes Clement,
Here.
Kevin McAvoy,
Present.
Robert Tonner.
Here.
That's what I get for reading your square on the Hollywood squares, Robert. My fault. Andrea Putz,
Present.
Peter DeMuth.
Here.
Okay. So has everyone on HLPC had a chance to review our minutes from last month? Are there any changes, amendments, clarifications that anyone would like to offer at this time?
Just a note, I'm going to recuse myself because I was not present last month.
Thank you, Andrea. All right. Hearing no other amendments or changes, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of May 6th. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Hayes. Do I have a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. I'll now call the roll. Hayes,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Andrea.
She's recused.
Recused.
Thank you. I wanted you to say it. Peter.
Aye.
All right. The minutes are hereby adopted. I also vote aye.
First, next item of business for the HAC is an application regarding 130 Schwenk Drive, drive-through signage to be installed on cement pads between lanes for a bank. Color page is the applicant on behalf of Rondout Savings Bank. Anyone here from Color Page to explain the proposal?
Jennifer?
Hi, yes. I'm not from Color Page, but I'm from Rondout Savings Bank. My name's Jennifer Fabiano. I'm the Director of Marketing.
Thank you, Jennifer. Tell us what you want to do.
Sure. So we have our drive-up lane where our ATMs are as well, and there's a cement pad there. And basically, we want to just be able to install, it's an aluminum construction. It would be bolted right into the cement. And really, it's just it's like a graphic banner that would go there. And, you know, we can change it out as we want to do different branding messages.
It's just the one?
Yep. Correct.
Sue, does this pass muster with the?
When you say
professional
just
staff?
the one, just to be clear, it's going at the end, it's going at each of your drive-throughs, correct? You've got more than one drive-through there?
Well, there's a drive-through over here, and then on the, so there's the ATM, and then there's the drive-through over here. So yes, it'll go on the cement pad that's in between both of them.
Is that even visible from Schwenk Drive because of the positions of the drive-throughs?
You know what? It's really not. I was thinking the same thing. I mean, you can kind of see it for the road if you really look hard, but it's not really. You wouldn't really. It's more so meant for people when they're in the drive-up lane and they're waiting, you know, to have, you know, the banner to look at, but you're really not going to be able to see it from the road much.
Sue, does the professional staff from the planning department have an opinion on this?
You have no issue with it.
Anybody from the Heritage Area Commission have questions or issues to discuss with the applicant? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
So moved, Dean Barnes.
Motion by Dean Barnes. Do I hear a second on that?
Second, Kevin.
Second by Kevin McAvoy. Any debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy,
Aye.
Michael Del Priore,
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it. We are issuing an advisory opinion on this But do I hear a motion to advise approval of the cement pad sign installation at 130 Schwink Drive as presented?
Bonnie Howland, so moved.
Bonnie Howland moves. Do I hear a second?
Michael second.
Michael Del Priore, second. Any debate on this motion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy,
Aye.
Michael Del Priore,
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Okay,
Mark,
Thank you.
thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hayes, do you want to continue with item number 2? We're moving into the joint ones that are both HAC, HLPC,
well, number 3.
or I'm sorry, number 3. You're correct.
Okay, so next item of business involves 41 Pearl Street, an application to install a pair of wooden gates and fence to span driveway accessing Fair Street on Pearl Street and along the rear of the property lines for a boutique hotel. Applicant and owner is Charles Blakeman of Hudson Valley Kingston Development, LLC. Is anyone here to explain this project? Scott?
Yes, I'm here. This quite simply is a request by the owner to secure the site a little bit better. There's been a lot of shortcut activity through the site, and to address several complaints from hotel guests about lights at night from people parking in the parking lot. So it's an opportunity to improve that area, but maintain full access through. It's been before the planning board and approved. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them. One little clarification, I think that there was a memo about the paint color that was sent through after the original application was submitted, and I have that paint color for you tonight if you'd like to discuss it, but it would match the window trim color that's on 41 Pearl.
Hayes, you're muted.
Has everyone had a chance to review this? The diagram? Any questions for the applicant? Any issues? Sue, the planning staff's opinion?
No, I don't have anything.
Do I
Like
hear-
Scott said, it went through the planning board. And the only issue that the planning board opted to allow for the Landmarks Commission to make the decision on was the final color.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Motion by Bonnie Howland, second by Dean Barnes. That motion's on the floor. Any debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Do I hear a motion to approve the installation of a pair of wooden gates and fence at 41 Pearl Street as presented by Scott Dutton on behalf of Charles Blakeman and Hudson Valley Kingston Development, LLC?
Mike, so moved.
Michael Del Priore moves, second by Dean Barnes. That motion's on the floor. Any further debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mark?
Thank you, Hayes. For members of the Historic Landmark Preservation Commission, has everybody had a chance to look at the proposal? Are there any questions? Yes, Andrea, you have a question?
Just again, on this one, I'm going to have to recuse myself. So I'm going to hop off video.
Thank you, Andrea. All right, I have one question regarding the color. The color that was cited to me before was Benjamin Moore Rose Pine. Their number 461. Is that still the color that's proposed?
That's the color of the window trim.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for the proponent? All right, I will entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Hayes, so moved.
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. I'll call the roll. Hayes,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
I note Andrea's recusal and I vote aye. All right. Is there any further discussion on the proposal itself? Any questions, comments, or points that members of HLPC would like to have clarified? All right, hearing none, I move that the commission find that the proposed gates and fence for 41 Pearl Street in the Fair Street Historic District by applicant and owner Charles Blakeman of Hudson Valley Kingston Development, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons. That the proposed work will take place at the 2.5-story brick building with mansard roof on the northwestern corner of Pearl and Fair Streets, originally built prior to the burning of Kingston, and was then the house of Judge Dirk Weinkoop, current structure having been built around 1790 with a stone exterior, then converted to the existing brick in 1875. That the proposed gates and fence will be wooden with a square lattice topper painted in Benjamin Moore Rose Pine 461 and will span the side and rear of the building between the driveways on Fair and Pearl Streets and along the rear, with a height of 4 feet at the driveways and 6 feet at the rear. That this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, that said gates and fence will not detract from the character of this historic district or of the building, that any changes or additions to the plans and or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application would be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out. And that this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this 3rd day of June 2021, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions as stipulated above. Do I have a second?
Hayes Clement, second.
Thank you, Hayes. Any discussion on the pending motion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Hayes?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
I note Andrea's recusal and I also vote aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Scott.
The next item of business for the HAC is 29 West Strand Street, an application for new signage for an art gallery. Timely Signs of Kingston is the applicant on behalf of Rela Bank's owner. Tyson, are you here?
Andrew is here.
Andrew, good to
Yes.
see you.
How are you?
Good. Tell us what you want to do.
So they're proposing a 48-inch wide, 32-inch high by 3/4-inch exterior grade exterior hanging sign. It's the same size that was previously up there for Trend's Hair Salon. So we just pretty much cut and paste the new sign at the same size for the same location. And the bottom of the sign, I believe, is 102 inches above the ground or the sidewalk.
So no changes, just new.
It's just new content, pretty much.
Anybody have any questions or issues with this? Sue, it passes muster.
Yep. I just need the insurance, obviously, for the overhanging.
We'll hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker. Dean Barnes, so moved. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Michael Del Priore seconds. That motion's on the floor. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
And Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Next, do I hear a motion to approve the new signage at 29 West Strand Street as proposed with the city of Kingston named as additionally insured?
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Motion by Bonnie Howland. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by
Kevin.
Kevin McAvoy. That motion is on the floor. Any further debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
And Bonnie Howland. And Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Andrew. The ayes have it.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great evening.
You have landmarks yet, so don't go.
You thought you'd escape, Andrew. No.
Well, I got off easy.
All right. Similarly with Historic Landmark Preservation Commission, has everyone had a chance to review? Are there any questions for Andrew? All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. I think Robert won that one. Robert, you were muted, however.
Sorry, yeah, moved, Robert.
Do I have a second?
Hayes Clement, second.
I think Hayes beat you to it, Andrea. Thank you. All right. On the proposal itself, any comments, questions, or clarifications needed by members of HLPC? All right, then I move that the commission find as fact that the proposed sign at 29 West Strand Street in the Rondout Historic District by applicant Timely Signs of Kingston and owner Rayla Banks, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to procedures as stipulated in section 405-64 of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons. That the proposed signage will involve one double-sided 48-inch wide by 32-inch high by 3/4-inch thick hanging sign of Extira, primed and painted black with either plotter cut high-performance white vinyl or high-performance digitally printed graphics with a matte over laminate hanging from one 54-inch wide scroll bracket painted black with black eye hooks and sign clips, 32 3/4 inches on center. That this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, that the signage will not detract from the character of the historic district or the building, that any changes or additions to the plans or signage specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to additional work being carried out, that this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on the 3rd day of June 2021, this commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the signage as described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions as stipulated above, and to the applicant obtaining insurance, naming the city as an additional insured in respect to the overhang as required by Section 358-9 regarding projections and obstructions in the city's legislation. Do I have a second?
Hayes Clement, second.
Right? Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Hayes,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Andrea.
Aye.
I also vote aye. Now, Andrew, if you wish to leave, you may.
Thank you very much, everyone.
You're very
Have a
welcome.
good
Bye
evening.
now.
Thank you.
Next item of business for the HAC is an advisory opinion on an application to convert existing garage shed into space for additional boutique hotel operations at 24 John Street. The applicant is Hudson Valley Kingston Development. Anybody here? Scott, you're going to handle that one?
Yes.
Tell us about this.
This is a small garage that has existed on the property since the 50s. It was not originally part of the overall vision of the 4-site Kingsley Hotel operations. But as we're finishing up everything at the other sites, the applicant said, you know, how can we use this? And our request tonight, which has been before the planning board as well, is to use it as a secondary opportunity for guests to arrive and drop off their bags, be received, and be distributed to the 2 properties that are directly adjacent to it, 24 John and 270 Fair. So there are no additional rooms that we're proposing. It's just a receiving area. It would not be staffed 24/7. It would be staffed as guests are arriving. As they're inbound to stay at 24 John or 270 Fair, hotel operations would know that those guests are inbound and direct them to this location so that they're not creating a queuing situation on Wall Street. So it's just a slight tweak and refinement. I think it will make operations smoother and more amenable for guests on arrival.
I'm trying to understand where this is exactly.
It's a little garage that is behind 24 John.
That's the block in between Fair and Wall, or Fair and Clinton?
Aaron Clinton, Hayes.
Yeah.
Correct. It's an existing garage, and given that it's a historic property, the intent is not to alter it in a radical way, just to polish it up a little bit and make it usable as finished space, as a place to receive somebody with a restroom, a little comfort station, kitchenette, and drop your bags and be received.
Anybody have questions for the applicant? Any opinion from the planning department staff, Sue?
No, this is going also to the planning board, so it'll be on our June agenda as well, but I don't see any overlying issues, no.
It looks nice. Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Second by Dean Barnes, motion by Bonnie Howland. Any debate on that? If hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore,
Aye.
and Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Second, do I hear a motion to approve the conversion of an existing garage shed into additional boutique hotel operation space at 24 John Street as presented?
So move, Mike.
Michael Del Priore makes a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second by Bonnie Howland.
Second by Bonnie Howland. That motion's now on the floor. Any debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote on that. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
And Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Mark?
Thank you, Hayes. For members of HLPC, are there any open questions for you, Scott, regarding the details here? Sure, Andrea.
Andrea, you're muted.
I will also have to recuse myself on this one.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else have any questions for Scott? Scott, is this visible from the street?
Slightly. You can view it at the driveway, 24 John Street, to the eastern edge of the property. But that's the
And
only
that's-
location.
And that lets out onto Clinton or lets out onto John?
John.
Okay.
It's set very far back from the street. It looks like a garage. We want it to continue to look like a garage, but we want to freshen it up. No major radical alterations here. It's just a freshen up and creating a productive use for the interior.
Right. This is a step up from it being storage for the
Correct.
files of Kaplan, Benton, and Franzman years
Correct.
and years. Gotcha.
Correct. Or for using it for refuse or the lawn mowing machine. So it'll create some life back in there. And I think that that's a very good thing as a member of the community. And architecturally, because the properties are all listed on the National Register of Historic Places, we're trying to be as sensitive as we can to the architectural responses there.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions? Then I will entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
Hayes Clement, so moved.
Do I have a second?
Robert Tonner, second.
Thank you. Peter and Kevin, you're both muted at the moment. I saw motion, but I didn't hear anything. All right. Any discussion of type 2 action? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Hayes,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
I note Andrea's recusal. I vote aye. All right. Last chance. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I move that this commission find as fact. Oops, I am looking. That the proposal for the garage at 24 John Street in the Stockade Historic District by applicant and owner Charles Blakeman of Hudson Valley Kingston Development, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons. That the proposed conversion of a garage built in 1957 will serve to provide additional space for boutique hotel operations, that the proposed conversion will involve the replacement of roof and a both an upper and lower roof, repairs to the wooden trim and paint to match the existing white, repairs to existing siding and paint to match existing white, a new window in the existing opening in the facade, new French doors to replace the garage doors, a new window in the existing opening in the west side, and a new door and door opening below where there currently is none, and 2 new windows in each of the existing openings on the other sides of the structure. That this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, that said garage conversion will not detract from the character of the historic district or the building, that any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out, that this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on the 3rd day of June 2021, this commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions outlined above. Do I have a second?
Hayes Clement, second.
Thank you, Hayes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Hayes?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
I note Andrea's recusal. I also vote aye.
Thanks, the board.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
See you soon.
The next item of business for the HAC is an application to repaint the exterior of 95 Green Street with trim and windows to be white on a cemented brick surface to be Benjamin Moore Patriot Blue 2064-20. Daryl Handler is the applicant on behalf of Ben Selden, who is the owner. Daryl, I see you here. If you could sort of walk us through what you want to do.
Hi, all. Thank you very much for your time. I would like to, we would like to repaint the exterior of the property in its entirety, both the white trim and the blue body. The building has, many years ago, it must have been repainted, but has not been painted since, and is chipping and basically paintless for a while now. So we wanted to repaint the entire, both the front facing and the back facing part, I guess everything of the building, start to finish.
So okay. It's a pretty dark blue. Does anyone have a question or an issue with this on the Heritage Area Commission? Why so dark, Daryl?
Well, it was a beautiful color. You know, the building is, I think, architecturally very beautiful, but it has seen its better days. We thought it would, make a nice living situation for the tenants and also positive for the community.
Any questions for Daryl? We're issuing an advisory opinion here. The HLPC would be the deciding. Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Motion.
Motion by Bonnie Howland. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Kevin McAvoy. That motion's on the floor. Any further debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes? Aye. Kevin McAvoy?
Aye.
Michael Del Priore?
Aye.
And Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Next, do I hear a motion to approve the exterior repainting scheme for 95 Green Street? Trim and windows to be white, cemented brick surface to be Benjamin Moore Patriot Blue 2064-20.
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Motion by Bonnie Howland. Dean, is that a second?
Yes.
Second by Dean Barnes. That motion's on the floor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy,
Aye.
Michael Del Priore,
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it. I'll turn it over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Hayes. Has everyone on Historic Landmarks had a chance to review the proposal? Are there any questions for Mr. Handler? Yes, Peter.
Is this the color that the building is currently being painted?
Correct.
Yeah, it is quite a vivid blue, I think, for the historic area. I don't know if anyone else on the HLPC has seen it yet.
Andrea?
I would have to agree with Peter. My suggestion would be, if you are amenable to it, is maybe taking a look at the historical colors from the Ben Moore line. There are colors that might be a little bit more suited to what you're suggesting here. There's a building across the street that also has a blue hue on it. And it may wind up clashing. And along with that, there are other structures in the neighborhood that are a much lighter shade. So I would suggest taking a look at maybe the historical palette. That might help.
Also, if I could,
Yes, Robert.
the white color, there are so many shades of white. You just go into Herzog, there's a million shades of white. So I would feel a little bit more comfortable knowing which white. If it's a bright, sparkling white, that's one thing. If it's a off white, duller white.
The intention for the white is to be not sparkly, not to be very sort of as an accent. So it's not supposed to have any sort of further character other than as an accent in the trim. Happy to provide the Benjamin Moore line of that, no problem.
Great.
Yeah, we usually do ask for a citation to a particular shade,
okay,
even for trim. That's pretty standard here. Did you provide anything like that to Sue?
I thought I did. I believe I did.
In your packets, there is the blue chip is in there, not the white.
I do have the white. I do have the white that I could provide, no problem. I used the same white that I got approved on another building that was just being painted white, that was already white. So I will provide that as well.
Yes, and the directive here to take a look at the Benjamin Moore compilation. I think you're happy with them as a company. They do have a good historic line, and I would agree with the comments you've heard so far that this is a little it's different enough that it's going to pop. On one level, that's a good thing. On another level, we want to be able to keep the streetscape as close as possible to a common sort of theme. It doesn't have to be precise. We're not looking for exact here, but Benjamin Moore's historic line in general has been able to mimic the eras that we are focused on.
Okay.
So if you could take a look at that, I think would be best. So I'm getting a sense of the meeting here that we would be asking you to come back with a slightly different color and also to provide citation on which white you're looking for. It sounds like you've got something in mind that we are likely to approve, but the blue as presented we'd be looking for something. From your point of view, it's probably a little more muted, though there are some choices that are lighter white, a lighter blue that might also pop for you within their historic palette. Does So I've got 1, 2, 3 comments along those, 4 comments along those lines. So, Sue, we also don't want to hold Mr. Handler up any longer than necessary. So I'm wondering if what we can do is specify a hue from within the line at Benjamin Moore and specify the white to be submitted to staff for review. Would that allow this to go forward quickly, or are you under time pressure, Mr. Handler? Lots of folks who come here are.
Yes, I am. Thank you for mentioning that. I am, because I have the crew that is painting the job has other jobs, and I have to fit it into their schedule. That also costs the money for the labor to come back and forth to the town. But that aside, I'm happy to do whatever it takes to make you guys happy.
I could offer like a suggestion, if he wanted to go back and just look at the other historic palette of blue paints, if he want, obviously I think he wants to stay in that blue palette. Look at maybe a couple other possibilities, and he wants to provide those to us, we could certainly circulate them. It might be a good idea to even take small samples of the other choices that he is considering and actually paint them on the building so you could see them in real light rather than on a small chip. And then if we could get, and then people could drive by there, or we could get photographs of that. Similar to what Andrew Wright did on his building uptown when he had different color choices that he was considering. He did that so you could see the variation in the hues. And I thought that was a very helpful way to show the commission members, what it would look like in for real on the building. Those are a couple suggestions I would have. If we got the other colors, we could certainly maybe circulate them around. Members could, look at the building, and maybe we could do, if you would agree to allow to a vote that way or an approval that way, we could move forward.
Happy to do it. I'm happy to provide any chips. I'm happy to have it painted. I have to see it functionally how that would work in terms of the crew and timing wise.
I'm not talking about a huge section. I'm maybe like a 2x4.
Yeah, we're talking about a foot square perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no problem. Would I have to wait till next month's meeting to get that approved?
No, that's what I'm saying. If we could kind of do that in an interim, and then the members would have an opportunity to go by, look at it. And then if we had the paint chips as well, I think maybe they could make I don't want to speak for the commission, but if they feel comfortable with that, then, that's an option.
Okay, so then we would need to declare a special meeting online specifically for that, as I'm just trying to figure out, given the present arrangement here, whether we're making a decision or simply tabling pending chance to take a look at Mr. Handler's choice.
Don't we make a motion, put it on the floor, and then leave it open, and that way we can vote on it electronically at a later date?
All right, so I want to make sure that procedure is first agreeable to members of the commission, and second, will work from your point of view, Sue, since you're going to have to sort of gather the votes as we chime in with our decisions here.
We can certainly leave the issue open and just reopen the meeting very quickly, I think. I don't, Dan is on the line. I don't know if there's a question about public notice, Dan, if we did it in that fashion.
I'd really rather not answer that question in a public forum.
Okay.
I mean, if, I can certainly send Mark a text with, my opinion about the procedure that you're proposing. and we can do it that way.
Okay,
But I'm not gonna, give legal advice with regard to a procedural matter like this in an open meeting.
okay, thank you.
Fair enough. I'd also ask that you share it with Sue. All right, so we're trying to come up with a way
Yeah,
to
Mark,
save
I'm
you
just
a
gonna
month.
send it directly to you.
All
Okay,
right,
what I would suggest is that, Mr. Handlers, that the item, be recalled at the end of the meeting, or, that you move on and conduct, further business. Mr. Handler might want to, go online and look at alternate colors now and see if there's something that he could propose that you would approve this evening.
all right.
I have something in mind, so I'll do that if you want me to stay on. And
Okay, then we'll leave you on for a second call.
All right, great. So, okay, great. No problem. I'll mute myself and stop the screen as well.
Thank you kindly.
No problem.
Thank you.
Back to you, Hayes.
Next item of business is 52 German Street, an application to install a 12 by 18 foot shed shop for tool storage. Alan Golgoski, applicant and owner. Are you here, Alan?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. Walk us through what you want to do.
Well, on German Street, the property's 40 by 135 roughly. I've had that property since 79, and where I reside butts up against it. There was a house there many years ago I took down in the year 2000, and I put a fence here and I have parking. And what I would like to do is to put a shed in 12 by 18 made by a barn, Brad's Barns, because I'm in the process of selling a piece of property I have down in the Beale Street where all my tools are. So I'm going to have to relocate my tools. So it's going to be, so I have a place for storage.
Sue, does the planning staff have an opinion on this?
We had talked with Alan about the possibility of locating it to the opposite side of the frontage due to the adjacent houses. He is not keen with that idea because of where he has an existing shed on the property already, and also where the access for that rear yard is in terms of the fence he's got constructed right now. In terms of its use, I believe you're also going for the zoning variance, Alan, on this?
Yes, I am.
That
So,
application is also pending right now.
and just so you know, also the shed would be erected or placed exactly on the perimeter where the existing house was, with the variance 6 foot off this side. And it would be matching the front of the other buildings on 50 German Street and 54 German Street.
And
It's
just
a
for the
concrete
record,
slab. It's a concrete slab under the shed.
That I don't know. I'm optional there. I don't know if you guys required or not, but that was an option. I was thinking about putting a slab there. Brad's Barns, they do it with the 4x4s down, or if you want to pour a slab. So I have no problem pouring a slab if you prefer, or I could do it either way. That's no problem.
Questions for the applicant from HAC members?
So Sue, you just made the one comment about you had asked them to move it to the other side of the property. Do we have to speak to that at all? I'm looking at the pictures as you were saying it, and why does it have to? Why are you proposing that it moves?
I proposed it because of the setback is 6 feet, and on the one side there are no window openings to the adjacent house, which sits rather close to the property line as well. And it's got utility connections and a walkway, but on the one other side where it's proposing, there are some window openings. So I was just looking at kind of making the, you know, the space, the light, natural light, and that, not shutting it off too badly.
And sir, you don't want to move that? Is that necessary? Sue, for
No,
the
and no, thank you. And to further that comment, I talked to her about this, and I appreciate that concern. But where I'm proposing to put the shed, there was an existing house there that was actually 3 stories, 2 stories with an attic, and that would enhance. Well, there was no. I understand the windows on the 50 German Street property, but there was a house there for over 100 years. And
and
it's
now you're just putting a shed there.
yeah, where I'm putting the shed, was never as quite as high. The lower window is their bathroom window, which is all covered over, and their other window is up in the attic.
Got it. All right. No other questions, Hayes.
That was
Thank you.
purely about light, though, to the neighbors, Sue. There are no setback problems with what he's proposing.
No, he's meeting the setback.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
Well, Hayes,
Michael?
I'm looking at the page 11, the photographs for this application. Is the location, I'm not exactly sure where this is going. Is it on page 11, the lower right-hand corner? Is it going in there, or is that a view across the street?
You're referring to me on page 11? I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, page
or
11.
is it page 8? Is the page 8 where it's going, with the one with the fence?
Okay,
51 German.
okay, on page 11, all right, on your top right, it's where that car is sitting, is where it's going,
Okay,
all right? The one on the left, on the top left, is across the street. The one on the bottom left is the other side of this lot, the house that I said didn't have any windows.
mm-hmm.
And the bottom right is across the street as well.
Okay, so then it's going in the area, what I read on page 8.
Mm-hmm.
And is that fence staying there?
In the rear, in the back, yes.
That's shown on page 8. Okay,
Yes.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions of the applicant? Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act?
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Motion by Bonnie Howland. Do I hear a second?
Mike, second.
Second by Michael Del Priore. That motion being on the floor, is there any debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy. Kevin McAvoy.
Aye. Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Do I hear a motion to approve the installation of a 12 by 18 foot shed for tool storage at 52 German Street as proposed?
I'll move.
So moved by Dean Barnes. Do I hear a second?
Second, Mike.
Second by Michael Del Priore. That motion's on the floor. Any debate on that? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it. From the Heritage Area Commission, I'll turn it over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Hayes. For Historic Landmark Preservation Commission, do we have any, nope, there's 2 separate commissions, Mr. Golgowski, and you've just been handed over to phase 2. So please do stay on with us.
All right.
All right, do members of Historic Landmark Preservation Commission have any questions regarding the proposed shed of the applicant? All right, I will entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
Hayes Clement, so moved.
Thank you, Hayes. Do I have a second?
Andrea Pugh, second.
Thank you, Andrea. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Hayes?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
I also vote aye. Moving on to the preservation notice of action. Are there any other specifics that we need from Mr. Golgowski? All right, hearing none, I move that we find as fact that the proposed addition of a shed to 52 German Street in the Rondout Historic District by applicant and owner Alan Golgowski, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons. That the proposed shed will be installed at the site where a house stood until razed in the year 2000, one lot off the corner of German and Ravine Streets on the edge of the historic district facing northeast. That the proposed installation will involve the addition of a 12 by 18 foot shed from Brad's Barns, that this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, that the shed will not detract from the character of the historic district or the existing building, that any changes or additions to the installation specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to any additional work being carried out, that this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this third day of June 2021, the commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions contained in the foregoing motion. Do I have a second?
Hayes Clement, second.
Thank you, Hayes. Any discussion on the motion as stated? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Hayes?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Thank you, Mr. Golgowski.
Thank you, each and everyone, for your time. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, good night.
Good night.
All right, next item of business is 31 Livingston Street, an application to install 22 solar roof panels. Applicant is Sunrun on behalf of Mark Williams, owner. Josh, I take it you're from Sunrun. If you could tell us
Hello.
what the proposal is.
Sure. Do you mind if I share my screen?
Sure.
Okay.
Hang on, let me give you.
Thanks. And thanks, Julie, for sending me the link at the last minute. I appreciate it.
Okay.
No problem, Josh.
Are you seeing it?
Yes.
All right, great. So we have an aerial view and a street view of what the solar system will look like. It will be seen from the street. We always do our best to make it look as symmetrical or squared off as we can, avoiding obstructions like chimneys and things like that. That's the view that, that we'll have. How does that look?
Any questions from Heritage Area Commission members for the applicant? Any issues? Do I hear a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker?
Dean Barnes, so moved.
Motion by Dean Barnes. Do I hear a second?
Second, Kevin.
Second by Kevin McAvoy. That motion's on the floor. Any debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Hayes Clement. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Next, do I hear a motion to approve the installation of 22 solar roof panels at 31 Livingston Street as proposed?
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Motion by Bonnie Howland. Do I hear a second?
Second by Mike.
Second by Michael Del Priore. That motion is on the floor. Is there any debate? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
The ayes have it. I'll turn it over to you, Mark.
Thank you, Hayes. For Historic Landmark Preservation Commission, are there any questions for the applicant here? Has everyone had a chance to take a look at the submission? Are you familiar with the property? I don't have everyone on camera because of the screen share, so if you have a question, I need you to unmute yourselves and speak up. All right. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act.
Hayes Clement, so moved.
Thank you, Hayes. Do I have a second?
Second, Robert Tonner.
Thank you, Robert. I'll call the roll. Hayes,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Andrea.
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. All right, on to the submission itself. Are there any additional issues or questions that folks would like to bring to the applicant's attention? All right. Hearing none, I move that the commission find as fact that the proposed installation of solar panels on the roof of 31 Livingston Street in the Chestnut Street Historic District by applicant Sunrun and owner Mark Williams, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of the City of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons. That the work will take place at the 2.5-story wood frame house on the corner of Livingston and East Chestnut Streets with its front gable facing east. That the proposed installation will involve the addition of 2 solar arrays on both long sides of the front facing roof, 11 panels on each side with a combined length each of 22 feet 4 inches and combined width of 9 feet 11 inches. That this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property, that the solar panels will not detract from the character of the historic district or the building, that any changes or additions to the installation specifically described and outlined in the submitted application will be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out, that this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on the 3rd day of June 2021, our commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the commission, such notice to be subject to the conditions outlined in the foregoing motion. Do I have a second?
Andrea Pugh, second.
Thank you, Andrea. Once again, any discussion of the motion as presented? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Hayes?
Aye.
Robert? Kevin?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
I'll go back to Robert.
Sorry about that. My computer went out. Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
If you can.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, Josh, for your submission and for doing the best you can to bring the 21st century to the 19th.
We got to try. Can I just
All right.
ask procedurally if there are any more steps before approval?
No,
Any
I
timeline?
think we're his last protocol on this one. Am I correct,
Okay.
Sue?
Yes, you'll be, the letter will be going out, decision, in the building department will be copied, so you'll be able to pick up a building permit. You've made that
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
application, I'm presuming.
Yes, we have. All right, appreciate
right.
it. Have a great night, everybody.
You too.
Okay. Mark, you're muted.
Hayes, back to you for the next item.
Thank you, Mark. Next item of business, I think for both of us, is a discussion of the Henry Street Bluestone Sidewalk Survey as presented by Lynn Woods and David Wesley. I see Lynn here. Is David also here? David's here also.
I'm here.
Welcome,
There it
guys.
Yeah, well, first of all, we want to thank you very much for letting us come and talk a little bit about this project. I'm just going to give you a really quick background about why we did this survey and what it is. So back in the fall of 2019, I wrote an article for the Kingston Times about different sidewalk infrastructure projects. And I learned in those projects that that Bluestone will be removed in those projects. So that's when I first became aware of this and concerned about Henry Street. David is he recently moved to Franklin Street. We met, we share an interest in this, and I'm going to ask him about that in a minute. So in February of 2020, right before COVID hit, we wrote an editorial talking about why we support preservation of Bluestone sidewalks in Kingston. And then we sent a letter, I think it was also the same month, to the mayor. And then because COVID hit, everything kind of went on hold until in March, Friends of Historic Kingston and Lowell Thing contacted me about an issue related to Bluestone. You know, I had been telling them about this. They expressed concern. So I met Lowell Thing at Henry Street, also Franklin Street. There's another project for Franklin Street, which also has a lot of Bluestone, but because that project is on hold, we're really focusing on Henry. So I met Lowell and he said, you know, you guys should do a survey. Because when you actually go to this part of the street, and we're talking about Henry Street between Clinton and Fair, Clinton to Broadway, there's no Bluestone. So we're really talking about a very specific part of the street, which is almost like a different street. There's a lot of driveways, not as many cars on the road. So anyway, David and I decided that we would do what Lowell said, and we'd actually go there and count all the Bluestone and see what was there. And it was amazing because even though I knew there was historic Bluestone, when you actually go and look at it, there's just incredible historic features on this part of Henry Street. And as you guys all know, Bluestone sidewalks are protected in the historic districts, of which there are 4, but it's not protected outside those districts. And even though the city has previously invested and addressed Bluestone and made it a priority, I'm thinking of the 2013 Bluestone survey that Jack Rawling did. And even though he focused on certain areas, he basically advocated for protecting Bluestone where there are extensive amounts of it left. So anyway, we counted, and I did send the survey to some of you, and if others of you who did not get it would like to get it, I'd be happy to send you a copy and talk to you more about this. But anyway, we counted 404 pieces, of which something like 262 are intact or nearly intact. And this is historic Bluestone on a level street, because there are no trees on that part of the street, or very small trees. It's flat. It's not like Green Street. I was on Green Street recently, which is protected. And I understand what people say about getting killed on Bluestone. I mean, where there are trees, there are issues. And I think more broadly, I think the city needs to have a whole sidewalk plan that looks at accessibility, Bluestone, and trees. And I would certainly not want the trees coming down. I think there should be like roundabouts like other cities do, but that's something the city has said it's going to look at in the fall as a sidewalk plan. But anyway, we counted, you know, and not only is there a lot of massive Bluestone slabs, 5 feet wide on the north side of the street. And I think we counted how many were, like, there are sections where there's like 50 Bluestone slabs adjacent. And of those, like 35 are intact. So we're talking about what Jack is talking about, substantial amounts of Bluestone that hasn't been fragmented, although certainly there are areas where there's been asphalt, it's been destroyed. Not only are there amazing sidewalks, but they tie into this entire infrastructure of, as we said in our report, there's a limestone hitching post at the corner of Fair and Henry and around that post is all preserved Bluestone. The property owner has obviously taken care to preserve it. It's entirely Bluestone from the sidewalk to the house. There are retaining walls. There are Bluestone steps. There are massive pieces of Bluestone going onto the private property adjacent to the sidewalk. So I know that when I've spoken to Jack, he said a big feature in historic preservation is looking at areas that are fairly intact. And this is certainly an area that is. So if the Bluestone is going to be removed and cement put down, you're going to really disrupt this very historic area that also has carriage stoops. And, you know, it's just as historic as anything in the historic districts. And in fact, it's adjacent to the Fair Street Historic District. And there's even a question that it may be in that district because we discovered a 1989 resolution for the Fair Street Historic District. And a map shows that it extends on Henry Street. Halfway on that first block of Henry from Fair. So there's a question about that the city may even be required to do that. And it's part of the heritage area as well. And I was told the reason is that was part of the Bluestone route, that the huge slabs traveled by wagon down from the quarries in Hurley and other places. And they traveled down Wilbur, and it's at that corner. So, and before I turn it over to David for a minute, I just want to say something which I think we all know. I mean, not only do we have lots of this beautiful stone, and I'm very aware of some of the issues which I can talk about. I'm not advocating for just, you know, preserving it everywhere in every condition. Certainly accessibility is important, and I respect that. But, you know, we're also the city where it came from. I mean, there's just a huge opportunity here for tourism. I mean, the stories connected with this history are fascinating. And it happened here. You know, we're not some city where we got it from somewhere else. I mean, Bluestone made fortunes in Kingston. People got ruined from it. And the first Bluestone was quarried in the 1830s, and I think it was dying out around the 1890s. I've been reading some history about it. Completely fascinating. So I think there's a big opportunity for preservation that would be economic. And I also want to mention this part of Kingston, which I'm going to actually be moving to that neighborhood in next week. And I'm thrilled that I have Bluestone in front of my house, by the way. You know, you have trans art being developed on Henry. You have the African burial ground on Pine Street. This is all in that neighborhood. You've got the Greenkill Gallery. You have Energy Square. You've got the Empire State Trail a block away on Greenkill. I mean, this is an area that is becoming a cultural nexus. And I think the more assets you have, the more points of interest that are unique, the more that builds and the more that brings in people and improves the quality of life. So I think, and also I want to say that, you know, Henry Street, as you know, has been one of the more economically depressed parts of the city. But why shouldn't these lower income areas have preservation as well? I mean, why shouldn't those residents have access to this beautiful historic stone. So that's kind of my basic argument. David, maybe you want to say something as a fairly new person to Kingston, why you wanted to get involved with this.
Well, to begin with, the Bluestone is beautiful. It's a very important aspect of Kingston's historic identity. I think to not preserve it would be really bad for the city in the long run. And I would also just mention the seizing of Bluestones. If you walk around Midtown or any other part of Kingston, there's a ton of the Bluestone's been there for 100, 120, 140 years and more. And it's oftentimes less seized and in better condition than concrete that was put in 20 years ago. So in addition to replacing one of our great historic resources with one of the world's worst carbon offenders, which is concrete, I think it's a very nearsighted solution that will wind up being regretted by this city. I hope that we can do something to deter that from happening.
Yeah. Also, this is not just an issue for Henry. We're talking about Henry because it is at risk. And as you guys may know, Kristen Wilson has recently proposed to the Common Council a resolution that they would vote on that would bond. I think it's an extra $115,000. The city is putting something like $335,000 into this project. Most of it's funded by DOT. It's a safe routes to school route. It's something like 1.3 million. So there will be a vote by the Common Council about whether they'll allow the funding. And I know that the rep from the consultant GPI will be giving a presentation, I think for the Finance and Audit Committee on July 9th, I believe. So I'm going to certainly listen into that. And I wish there was a Bluestone person speaking as well, because I think we have them in the city. And, there's a whole issue about, the city code addresses preservation of it and what should be preserved. I have it in front of me. But I know that in December, there was a meeting, not a hearing, a public meeting, though, that the public could ask questions about this project. And the consultant said that when it was brought up, well, why not preserve the Bluestone? Her answer was it's very expensive because all the Bluestone has to be removed and then concrete laid and then set in the concrete. And frankly, that doesn't make sense to me. If you go there, you will see, huge slabs intact that I can't even imagine the cost of lifting these things up. It seems to me there are ways which our code addresses that you can put in cement in the seams. It just doesn't make any sense that you would lift up all this heavy stone that's in pretty good shape and then put it in concrete. So I'm just alerting you, if you listen in on that, let's make sure we're getting the full story about ways to preserve it when we want to keep it. And then also Kristen did say that the city is looking at a citywide sidewalk plan, which we really need because this is not the only project. If this Bluestone is removed on Henry, which is a particularly historic area, because David and I also inventoried Franklin Street, the same section. Now, part of Franklin under this Complete Streets, it's a DEC funded project, which is now on hold. A portion of that Bluestone was going to be preserved because that's in the Fair Street Historic District. Not the whole thing. I think it was till Pine Street or something. And so we did that. We're not really talking about that because that project's on hold, but we found even more Bluestone on Franklin. However, it didn't have all these walls and steps and edging that Henry Street has, no hitching posts. So I'm not saying we shouldn't look at that, but I'm saying this is particularly historic. And we've also walked in that neighborhood, and like on Clinton Avenue, I happen to own a property on Clinton Avenue on, let's see, which side of the street? I think the west side. Most of the Bluestone is intact and incredible, like 6-foot pieces that cost a fortune, by the way. This stuff is valuable. On the other side of the street, it's gone. So it's very spotty, but there are large areas, including Pine where I'm moving, where a lot of it's intact. So I think this is an issue citywide. And we actually talked to Taylor Bruck, the Kingston historian, and we said that Lolfing suggested maybe we should do a whole citywide survey. We're not doing the GPI that Jack Brawling did. We're just walking it and estimating it. It's a little bit of a crude method, but certainly we should be doing that. I know that there's incredible Bluestone on Paconkey Street, huge pieces. So we're more interested in Midtown as Midtown residents, but there's a lot of it. So I think that this could be a model for how do we go forward with this? I think we need to make decisions. And if we're just going to rip it up and put cement down, I think that's a sad thing because we're a very historic city. And by the way, a lot of investment money is coming in because of that history. I mean, Hutton Brickyards, that is about preserving a brickyard. I mean, look at that place. I think if it didn't have those historic buildings, it wouldn't be half of what it is. I mean, look at Charles Blakeman, who formerly was before your commissions. He's buying historic buildings. I mean, this is bringing money into Kingston. So I think the more we preserve that, it's actually an economic development initiative as well. And maybe it's worth the extra money it costs to preserve it. Do any of you have questions you'd like to ask us?
Hi, it's Julie Edelson Safford. I just want to confirm that the Fair Street District does extend to Henry Street.
Could we
But
communicate?
how far
that-
back Henry does it extend? Does it go all the way to Clinton, or is it just the?
Just a little portion, I think.
Wall and Pine.
Between Wall and Pine.
Oh.
And just on the north side of the street, right?
Yes.
So Julie, it goes all the way to Pine on the north side of the street. Is that what you're
It
saying?
doesn't go all the way to Pine. It goes almost to Pine. It's like 2.5 lots off.
Okay, that's what I thought for the map. So, the city grants manager needs to know that because in her communication, she said it's not in the district.
Yeah, I'll have to talk to her. about
It
I've
seems to
spent-
me, yeah, sorry.
I've spent a
wasn't
lot
aware
of time
that she
researching
wasn't
this
aware.
particular question. My understanding is that, the 89 map, that you have, there's a resolution that goes with that.
Mhm.
And it only, if you look at it carefully, it only extends to Maiden Lane on the other side, right?
You mean Shriver Street?
No, Maiden Lane on the other side,
The north.
going towards the stockade. It doesn't actually, the 89 map does not meet the stockade. There was apparently a later resolution to extend it, but it's still, and I believe this is an attachment to section 405, the zoning, in the appendices at the end. I think you're going to find a historic district map that shows the way it lays out now, and it gives you a citation for the date when the Common Council approved of that. But regardless of all of that, it does extend, as far as I know, to Henry Street. That map still shows it there. And I thought that the confusion with Franklin Street arose from the historic preservation brochure that the Friends did in around 2006, where they just had like an artistic rendering. It wasn't a jurisdictional map. It was an artistic rendering that only seemed to show it showed this inconsistencies on all the historic districts, including Fair Street, showing it only going to Franklin. So I think that sort of confirms that. The question, the other thing that comes into play with this, I think, is the sidewalk code that was passed. When was it, 2017 or thereabouts? I had walked into a meeting where they were reviewing that at sort of by accident. I was at City Hall for something else, and I happened to see Kristen and a number of other people I knew, including somebody from the county transportation doing, and I just walked in, and they were they had a draft of that code, and they were going to only allow Bluestone in the historic districts. And I was like, well, wait a second. Whoa, back that one up. First of all, I have an individually landmarked house with Bluestone. I mean, hello? And they were like, oh, there's individual landmarks? Oh, okay, I guess we can include them. And then I said, what about Albany Avenue? What about, Henry, Franklin, Foxhall? There's streets all over. Clinton Avenue, I think, has some, the Pankaki Street. And I got severe pushback from DPW on that.
Yeah.
And I was at a meeting more recently, like since you've done this report, where this came up again on city infrastructure projects. And one of the DPW reps said that what their problem wasn't with Bluestone per se. It was with the quality of Bluestone. And that person cited the example of Broadway, where you have that Pennsylvania Bluestone that's like, maybe it's 2 inches thick if you're lucky, and it spalls and cracks. I think you have it at City Hall too, the same type of Bluestone. And he didn't think that they had enough bluestone in the Bluestone bank to accommodate all the, segmented areas. But I'm just telling you what the guy said. I'm not, I was on the Bluestone steering committee with, that Jack Broadline did, together with Hayes, Suzanne, and Kristen Wilson, so yeah, certainly there's a number of us that fully understand this. But where to go forward, I don't know. I'll leave it to somebody else.
I mean, the thing is, Kevin, one thing Lowell suggests is we need a Bluestone advocate at City Hall. I mean, we need somebody who has a voice like you or someone that can speak on this, because this is historic stuff. And the other issue is that I mentioned in my letter that you guys have a copy of is, so they're going to remove 404 pieces of bluestone, right? Of which 263 or whatever the number is, 260 is intact or nearly so. By nearly so, we mean it might have a little chip corner. Are they going to break that up? I mean, I assume they're going to have to move all that stuff, which is massive. They're going to have to put it in the Bluestone Bank, which I can't find out whoever even runs that thing. And it's in chaos right now, but it's their responsibility for that reason you just said. And they're going to have a ton of bluestone if they go through these projects, and they better be able to manage it, because this stuff is valuable. And this is the historic stuff.
It's not just the sidewalks, it's also the curbs.
Exactly. A whole infrastructure that defines us as a city. And if it's ripped up, we're going to lose our identity. We're going to be like,
I want to second that opinion and also point out we have a huge problem with bluestone theft by property owners. They presume they own the bluestone. My favorite example is at the corner of East Chester Street bypass and Hasbrook Avenue. Huge hunks of bluestone have been replaced with concrete. I happen to notice that most of it is piled in the backyard of the homeowner, and he's formed a lovely little path from his garage to his back door with the rest of it. It is the city's property. The city has been woefully terrible at keeping track. I've seen it disappear off Wirtz Street. I've seen it disappear at the corner of Green and Main Streets.
Well, Mark, at Wirtz Street, there's actually photographs of the owner removing that giant piece. The police were called and they did nothing. And I know where it is. It's in the Berkshires. I know.
Your complaints regarding DPW, Kevin, I think.
I'm not complaining. I'm not saying I'm complaining.
Well, all right. I will complain about DPW not taking responsibility, since I believe they are the entity within the city that is most directly involved under the codes, but they've never done an inventory. They don't care much about it. As my understanding, they are the ones who run the Bluestone Bank. They try not to advertise its location because they fear theft, and I can't blame them.
But a lot has disappeared from that yard. And you know what? If they remove this bluestone, I'm going to track it. I'm going to write articles about it, because I just think it's a crime.
My favorite idea on that one, Lynn, is we should be putting RFID stickers on each piece so we can trace it as it gets carried away.
So I guess what I want to ask you guys is is there anything that landmarks can do, or heritage area? I mean, we are as citizens trying to just raise the issue and just show people what's there. And again, we didn't even know ourselves until we took a very slow walk and actually counted each piece. But it's a wonderful exercise. And I just wonder, I'm hoping that people will contact their older people about this vote if they believe that as we do, that it is worth the extra money. How many times have we heard when they tore down the whole Rondout? Oh, cost too much to restore the building. How much have we heard this? Always that's the argument. Cost too much.
And as somebody who has replaced relayed bluestone, tilted it up, shoveled it out, laid down new sand, chopped at a tree root. The idea of putting it in concrete is chemically a crappy idea. I don't understand. Whoever is talking on behalf of this consultant is frankly ignorant.
Well, that's the person giving, as far as I know from the communication, that is the person giving the presentation. So it might be good if landmarks or, some of us, other people that care can somehow, if that's what she says, I'm not saying she will, I'm just saying, I don't think she's a Bluestone expert. I think we need some expert opinion here.
Well, first off, both commissions can go on record with a joint letter to the Common Council taking a position on this Henry Street action first. And I think, at the very least, Mark and I, as the chairman, can go address the council too.
That would be wonderful.
But Sue, is there any more pressing way that we can get on record with a position that ropes in SHPO and some other people and kind of sets maybe a barrier to the council being able to do anything like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think your thought about, if you want to draft a letter, Mark or Hayes, to the council, what are the thoughts of the commissions, respectively. I think that's a good first step. I think, we can certainly at staff level, we see Kristen every day. Well, we can talk to Kristen. I can express some of the concerns that were brought out this evening, and some of the highlights. I know Kristen has reviewed your report, Lynn and David as well. All the commission members have received it. I don't know if anybody else has any comments on it or any other thoughts about carrying the message, but I think certainly going, to these meetings, attending these meetings, looking online, looking at the project. It's on Engage Kingston, that website, so you can look at the Henry Street, and you have to vocalize your thoughts and your comments.
I'd also like to add, Sue, that I posted some things on Facebook, I think back in April about this, and I've never gotten such a response to anything. I mean, there was something like 52 shares. I mean, there were a few comments like, I don't think my son in the wheelchair can go on that. He tried it. I'm like, well, let's get someone in a wheelchair and see, I'm not against accessibility, but I've never had such a response to everything. I think there's huge support for this. And again, we're not saying every single piece of Bluestone should be preserved. On Green Street, it's insane. It should be immediately removed. And I think there should also be some kind of way to go around trees, because I don't think we should just cut all our trees down either. I think the compromises need to be made, because I'm also an advocate for protecting our trees. But one other thing I want to say regarding SHPO, and I'm not trying to criticize or badmouth anyone, but when I did my article, I did get the SECRA, the short form SECRA for this project. It was foiled and I saw it. And are there any historic resources that was checked? No. So I don't think people even are aware of this. I mean, I consider Bluestone a historic resource. So I'm just letting you know that, because I don't think the state's aware. And again, I'm not trying to, I know people's jobs are complicated. People are busy. I just think the commission should know that I don't think the state knows. And maybe there's an argument that this isn't a historic resource. I think that's a hard argument to make. But anyway, I'm gratified that you all seem to care. And again, it's about compromising. And I'm not saying, I understand that there's a lot of accessibility is an issue, green, trees, there's a lot to balance. I get that. But we are a very historic city. And I think we should take care and maybe, spend the extra money, take the time, to have a nuanced approach, because certainly we wish we had downtown back, and certainly wish we had the post office, and certainly wish we had the trolley barn, which Ed Ford mentioned to me in a conversation a year ago. It's a shame about that trolley barn, because now there's the rail trail. And where does it start? Where the trolley barn would have been. Wouldn't that have been fantastic? We're trying to connect all the dots here, and the more we lose, the less dots there are to connect. So that's my spiel, but I appreciate you listening, and I really am grateful that there are people I'm speaking to who know more about this than me. So I'm very respectful of them, but I just feel like we just need to speak up and do what we can.
So if confirming that the Fair Street Historic District extends back to Pine Street, at least for that block, wouldn't any move to remove Bluestone there have to come before HLPC?
Fences, sidewalks alone have generally not come before us. We have made specifications regarding sidewalk replacements, and there were some curb cut issues that we became involved with, and were able to specify what would happen with the Bluestone in those cases. But Bluestone alone, and also we have to worry about how this is funded. If it is a governmental action, it may not come before us.
Yes, city action does not require the approval of the HLPC.
So that we would have to, this is Common Council's purview, not directly ours. We get to speak up like other members of the public, essentially, would be what's immediately available. I'm curious about the idea of Hazen and I drafting a letter from the commissions. It's going to require a vote of you all to permit us to do that. I'm wondering how members feel about such a letter from the two chairs.
I'm in favor. Bonnie Howland, you're on record.
Any
support, yeah.
Okay, what would you like to see us stress?
Hayes,
Sorry, my suggestion would be, let's have a motion by each commission authorizing Mark and myself, with Sue's help and with Lynn Woods and David's help, to draft a letter on behalf of both commissions for submission to the Common Council. And we can each, I don't think it's going to be workable for everybody on every commission to wordsmith it. But if you authorize me and Mark to draft something for submission, I think that's the way to go.
Okay.
Right. I would ask anyone on historic landmarks, are there particular issues from what we've discussed here tonight that you want highlighted? Peter?
I think the importance of keeping the Bluestone should be paramount.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Hayes, you want to go first on soliciting a motion?
Do I hear a motion from an HAC member to authorize myself as chairman and Mark Grunblatt as chairman of the HLPC to jointly draft a letter in support of preservation of Bluestone generally and preservation specifically on Henry Street as relates to the Fair Street Historic District to the Common Council?
Motion by Bonnie Howland.
Do I hear a second? Second by Dean Barnes. There's a motion on the floor. I'll call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
The ayes have it. So, and just to note, we will circulate this to everyone for comments before submission. Back to you.
All right. On behalf of HLPC, do I hear a motion to submit a joint letter together with HAC that for Hayes and me to draft, with input from staff as we see, and others as we see fit?
So moved, Robert.
Thank you, Robert. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Peter. I will call, any further discussion?
Yeah, I'm thinking the letter may want to reference the Bluestone report from 2013, the Jack Braunline report. And to the extent applicable, reference the comprehensive plan.
Especially the historic part of that. I believe it is mentioned there.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yes, I will recognize you for this purpose, Lynn.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I also have in front of me Bluestone Preservation Program for Kingston, New York. It's dated 5/3/2013. It was, I think, written by Lil Thing. I have it right here. So just another piece of it.
Right, I think I have that, yeah.
Sure do.
If you guys need some of this documentation, I probably had it, in, I have a big Bluestone folder.
That would be great.
Great.
Okay.
All right, back to the motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Hayes?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Robert?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. All right, Hayes, we need to talk. And we'll pull it together. Thank you very much.
I'm going to sign off, but thank you so much for this and for letting me speak and for your reaction. And I'm happy to help in any way. I'm moving on June 9th, so hopefully it's after June 9th. But I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you. You've already done a lot.
Well,
I
thank you
say
to
the
both
same
you and
thing.
David.
And if I invite anyone who wants to come walk the neighborhood and walk Henry Street with us. It's really eye-opening to see how
I would like
the sidewalks are tied to the paths, the steps, the retaining walls, and in most cases, as in all of the house, almost all of the houses in this city are built on bluestone foundations. So really, the bluestone infrastructure that starts so democratically on the sidewalks, it winds up undergirding almost all the houses in our city. So thank you for being so interested in preserving it.
Compliments to you two on the work that you guys did too. That is pretty tremendous. So hats off to that.
Thank you. It's been actually really fun. So thank you. So I'm going to sign off then, right? That's it?
Yep.
Okay.
Have a great evening.
Thank
you.
Thanks very much.
Mr. Handler, as Chair of Historic Landmarks, we're giving you a second call. Have you chosen some paint samples for
Yeah,
us?
so just I would get the easy part is the white, which is just it's called Simple White from Benjamin Moore. By the way, thank you very much for the second look. I appreciate it. It's number 2143-70. There's nothing particularly noticeable about the white other than just clear white. That will be the accents of the building.
David or Daryl, can I ask you a quick question? Is it the handrails and everything as well as the window trim and everything?
Correct.
There's a one photograph. Okay, cool. Continue.
Cornices of the building.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that'll all be white to keep up with the historic look. And that's the goal, to make it look in line with the rest of the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
The blue, the Patriot blue is the one that we had currently chose, and I was asked previously to pick one from a historic line, which I found a Newburyport blue, which is HC 155 from the historic selection.
Okay, can you share that with us, or should we go to a website here?
I could share it with you if you'd like. Give me 1 second.
Say the name of it again.
It's Newburyport. Yeah, I googled it. It's actually, that's quite lovely. It's not as, it doesn't give you that pow that the one that you had, the Patriot Blue does.
When I now I'm comparing the two online, and I know it's different from the panel to the actual light and air of the actual product. It is comparable. I believe it is comparable in terms of the hue and the tone. I'm wondering, obviously this is going to be a building expense that we're going to incur. I'm wondering, I don't know what this is going to cost. As I'm sitting here thinking about this, it might be prohibitive. I want to do, I want to find out what that is, and we'll do what we have to do to make everyone happy. But I do want. I'm wondering if it's going to be.
I do a lot of painting, and I have not found that the historic colors at Benjamin Moore are a different price than the others.
I think it's more of a from a labor perspective, but yeah, that's good to know as well.
I like this though. It's a grayer
better.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
would look really nice on the street and for the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I can get behind this one.
So Hayes, do you want to go on record with an amended approval
I
first?
don't think we have to, because we were just issuing an advisory opinion, HAC, right?
I think Mark was asking you though as an HLPC member.
No, I was asking for HAC's benefit if they
Okay.
wanted to amend. That would be, I agree that it's not an absolute requirement, but I wanted to offer the possibility.
Okay.
All right. So this is for HLPC alone here. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at the choices?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the white was called simple white.
Correct. I can give you the number as well if that makes it easier for you.
Yeah, we have that number 2143-70.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Disco Mark.
Oh, you're learning about my past, aren't you? All right. I will entertain, we've already done the seeker type 2 action on this one. Am I correct, Sue?
No, we did not.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion to declare this a type 2 action under seeker.
Hayes Clement, so moved.
And Peter, is that you seconding?
Yep, second.
Thank you. All right, I will call the roll. Hayes,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Andrea.
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. All right. I move that the commission find as fact that the proposed facade paint job for 95 Green Street in the Stockade Historic District by applicant and owner Dale Handler, if done according to the plans reviewed at this meeting and according to the procedures stipulated in section 405-64 of Kingston's Administrative Code, is compatible with the historic character of the building and the district for the following reasons. That the proposed new facade paint will be to the 2.5-story double front gable building facing east, one lot away from Main Street, constructed of brick and wood with a cemented face, appearing on the 1899 Sanborn maps, having been built sometime between then and 1887. That the proposed facade paint color will be Newburyport blue, under Benjamin Moore's number HC155, and that the trim will be simple white under Benjamin Moore color number 2143-17 for trim. That said,
I think it's -70, not 17.
70. Thank you. I will accept that amendment.
And Mark,
Yes. Robert?
it's simply white, not simple white, I believe.
Correct.
Let's get that correct as well. I will accept that amendment as well. Thank you, Robert. That this work will cause a material change to the external appearance of the property. That said facade paint will not detract from the character of the historic district or the building. That any changes or additions to the plans or work specifically described and outlined in the submitted application as herein amended will be subject to further review by our commission prior to the work being carried out. That this commission's approval does not obviate the need for a building permit from the City of Kingston's Building Safety Division or any other required approvals from relevant coordinating agencies. Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that on this third day of June 2021, this commission grant a preservation notice of action to the above referenced applicant for the work as described herein and in its application to the commission such notice to be subject to the conditions outlined above. Do I have a second?
Andrea Pugh, second.
Thank you, Andrea. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Hayes,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Andrea.
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Thank you, Mr. Handler, for your quick work on this one
Thank you.
and for your flexibility.
Yes. Thank
All
you.
right.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you all.
Okay.
And anything further new business to come before the board?
Yep.
All right, I'm hearing none. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Well, we have to adjourn each meeting.
Yep.
This is true. I'm going first this time, Hayes.
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Peter, we have a motion from Robert, a second by Peter. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will call the roll. Hayes,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
Robert,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Andrea.
Aye.
I also vote in the affirmative. Thank you all. Back to you, Hayes.
Do I hear a motion from the HAC to adjourn?
Motion.
By Kevin McAvoy, motion. Do I hear a second? A second by Michael Del Priore. Motion on the floor. Hearing no debate, I'll call for the vote. Hayes Clement. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Bonnie and Oscar vote aye.
Both sides. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, all.
Night.
Aye. Aye.